Hey guys, Chaotic Camper here with another Hell Let Loose update news video for you, talking about the upcoming Update 19. And even though we don't have a release date or month for it at this time due to it being delayed to fix Update 18, we do know a little bit more what's coming and a little bit more information, such as more stuff about Smolensk, such as a TAC map and just a couple of aspects about it, and the artillery tanks themselves, and of course just in general, just some information that I felt was important to know. Now, for those still complaining about Update 18, they have fixed a lot of the issues, at least from what I've seen. There is a third hot fix coming in the near future, so just keep an eye out for that. For those of you who want to read up on the dev brief, I'll leave the link down below in the description. So starting off with the top of the dev brief, their new approach to testing. So they were going through the final build designated for the PTE, and they tested, but it just wasn't the right place to share it yet as a PTE. So they're trying to change up some things to how they do testing to try and address issues in the future. Such as on November 10th, they are doing an experimental branch build on Steam. And through this, players will be able to join the early test builds and provide early feedback and shape Update 19 up into release. The reason they're doing this is because, at least according to them, it'll offer numerous benefits, such as it allows server owners to host their own community servers and allow them to test just some of the tools that are there and configurations directly, allowing for more authentic testing conditions and let the devs see the issues faster. Another benefit is just ease of access. You don't have to download another software or just application to access, like, say, the PTE or the testing stuff. So there is that as well, which I'll be honest with the server stuff, I don't really know much about. So for any server owners, maybe you know something I don't. But for those, at least, it looks like they're trying to make it more streamlined. So that way, okay, if you're a server owner and you want to test it out on your server, you could say, hey, we're doing this. So if you experience issues, this is why. And see what things are about. What all it's going to be on there, I do not know. It doesn't really say. But there is that. Now, moving on to Smolensk. Don't worry, I said it right this time. So, according to them in one of the last blogs they posted, this is the most urban map that they're going to put together. And from the map, just picture we've gotten, the TAC map, it does look very much like a all-urban map, even more so than Stalingrad. Almost like Stalingrad, and I'll say Tobruk kind of had a baby, but put a river in the middle. Because when I look at the TAC map here, you see a lot of narrow streets with a lot of buildings. There's a railway area, and it looks like just the whole map, for most of it, maybe besides the south, is just city. So we're going to have a all-urban map on the eastern front. I know Stalingrad's technically an urban map, but there's a lot of wide open spaces in Stalingrad where it looks like this one's going to be more flat, and maybe there's some hills on the outskirts, but it's just going to be urban combat, which is going to be really interesting, going from Stalingrad, Kharkov, and Kursk, which 2 of the 3 of those are very open maps, to a very condensed, almost like Karantan-esque style of map, from what it looks like. Now, that's what we have, at least on the dev brief, regarding Smolensk, but we're going to go on to the next thing. Talking about your artillery squad that they're bringing in, the static artillery and self-propelled artillery. So just with everything that they've probably looked at with Update 18 and what they can do, they're also trying to find a way with Update 19 to change the artillery meta once and for all. As we've already kind of got inklings with that with the artillery barrage, they're now starting to see about putting the self-propelled artillery tanks finally to use. With that, though, we finally get a taste of what they're actually bringing vehicle-wise, which for those of you who've been part of the channel, I put a video up talking about if they brought assault guns, which are basically just tanks with howitzer cannons, or actual self-propelled artillery, which were just tanks that are built for nothing but artillery that are very fragile, but very mobile, but they can fire at long range. We now know it's basically assault guns. Assault gun tanks, that is. Now, they did not say which ones for the US and British will be. Guessing by the photo, we're probably getting the 105mm Sherman, just from what we've seen with other pictures. I'll post one up now. But at least for the Russians and the Germans, we do have confirmation of what we're getting. For the Russians, you're getting the KV-2 heavy tank. So heavy armor, 152 millimeter cannon, a very big turret, and just kind of an interesting choice. I did not see that one coming. I figured they would have went with the SU-122 for those of you who've watched my video talking about what tanks they could have brought, but I was wrong there. And for the Germans, I also got this one wrong because they did assault guns. I figured they'd get the Stug 3, but instead they went with the Sturmpanzer IV Brummbär. So a Panzer IV that has been reinforced with more armor to house a 150 millimeter cannon, but it does not have a turret. So it's a hull-locked tank, essentially, which is our first tank like that ever in game, which I think will really test the coordination of the artillery teams that have to man it. We don't know how much fuel all of them are going to take either, but we do have some things they've already told us about. Now, with this, though, it's not going to be just tank squads, it's going to be artillery squads. So now we, instead of just having commander, infantry, tanks, and recon, we now have an extra squad now. So there's going to be 5 options in total. And the main thing with this is to offer both static artillery options and mobile self-propelled gun options. And both are going to have advantages, disadvantages, and being hopefully fun but easy to counter at the same time. And to encourage more teamwork and communication between different members of an artillery squad, because there's going to be different roles that each of them face. Where with tank crew, you have a commander and 2 crewmen that can do whatever. Where it looks like, from what I'm going to get to, there's actually specific roles that each player in the squad will have to follow. I'm curious how it's going to truly work out for those running 2 or 1 mans, but time will tell. So the 3 classes in the artillery squad are going to be the observer, support, and engineer. The observer is going to scout and mark enemy positions while coordinating with command and other officers. And when your squad opts to use a self-propelled gun, your outpost will enhance your squad's artillery accuracy within its radius, making placement and protection essential. This mechanic does not affect static artillery, which has the same scatter values as it always did. Observers will now have anti-infantry mines to help protect their squad. Artillery support. They will drive, aim, and fire artillery while deploying supplies to build guns, nodes, and defenses. Equipped with the squad's only supply box and anti-infantry mines, they play a vital role in construction and protection. So basically, they're going to have you actually able to build artillery, which again, we'll get to. And the engineer. Operate and maintain artillery platforms. While you drive, aim, and fire, your wrench and blowtorch make it essential for repairing damaged artillery and keeping and building fortifications. That way you can keep yourself in the fight longer. So it sounds like they're basically making infantry that's honestly a hybrid, but with artillery focus. From just simplifying it, of course. I will say, seeing a de facto tank crew with the outpost will also be kind of weird, but so be it. Now, let's talk about the static artillery guns that I keep mentioning. So the static artillery guns are going to be essentially guns that the artillery squad can build that are the same as what we have today, like with the guns that are HQ. But there's going to be some changes and some nerfs with them. So one of the nerfs as well is that the guns will have reduced range from 1,600 meters to 1,400 meters, which means no final objective will be able to be shelled, which means that you could only probably use the artillery in a certain amount of sectors, probably just the HQ sectors. Static artillery must be first constructed by the artillery squad using supplies. So as we mentioned, the support guy in the artillery squad will have supplies to build guns. Artillery guns could also be dismantled or destroyed by explosive weapons or by simply going up to them and dismantling them like you would a node. Should an artillery gun be dismantled or destroyed, then it must be rebuilt using the same amount of supplies it was originally constructed with. There is a cooldown of 5 minutes before another gun can be built. There's not a lot of specifics with this one, whether it means, okay, after I build the gun, the 5-minute countdown starts, or once the gun is destroyed, the 5-minute countdown starts. That's kind of where we don't know. Probably the former option, but we'll see. And then instead of static artillery gun costing munitions to fire, it'll have a limited supply of ammunition that can be replenished by the commander ability costing munitions. So you won't use munitions for firing artillery, but if you need more ammo from the commander, they have to be the ones to restock it. So it's one of those things that you do need to rely on your commander still to give you ammunition. But that means the artillery is now really more in control by the commander, so the commander isn't just losing all their munitions to, say, 3 random dudes just firing artillery to fire artillery. Anyone who's a half-decent commander or has played commander long enough has had to deal with that at least once while playing the game. Now, moving back on to the self-propelled artillery. So there will be some advantages since the self-propelled artillery or the assault guns will be closer to the front line. They'll be more accurate once the observer places an outpost, since you'll be firing at much shorter distances, and so your shots will be more precise. Shots will be capable of doing more damage to enemy armor, fortifications, garrisons, and OPs. So artillery can still do damage to tanks, but it's very hard to do so and actually hit the target. It seems like that assault guns can do damage to tanks. Probably not advised, though, assuming reloads will probably be a big factor. They'll be able, although it'll be kind of hard, direct fire upon enemy targets by means to defend themselves. Basically meaning they're up close and personal with the enemy, and they're firing shots to protect themselves or engage enemy fortifications at point-blank range. And much like static artillery, their accuracy will be increased through the actions of the observer rule, albeit with higher total accuracy. Now, just to go on some smaller stuff here, they did bring out just a couple more photos of Smolensk that I'll post here right now. And they do have a known bugs list they're going to release on Monday so that you know what to look for, and also feedback forms that the average person can fill out, probably on their Discord page. And now I can already hear the groaning and moaning from people still complaining about Update 18. For the most part, it seems like they fixed a lot of the issues. There's still some other issues, and I don't think they changed as much as we all thought with the armor, which I think was a slight disappointment, but I still like the changes they brought, so I'm not completely mad. I think this will finish out a lot of the things they need to do, and they'll change the artillery meta for the better. And you know me, guys, I try to be optimistic. Obviously, it's cautious optimism, but what do you think? Do you think the self-propelled artillery or assault guns are going to be good additions? Or do you guys think we're still kind of in a bit of a hell? But take care, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.